Well, next to Cornwall Council, whose cabinet has approved plans to save £50 million from its budget for the next financial year. The Conservative-run authority says it's got no choice but to increase people's council tax bills and reduce or cut some services to help balance its books. Our Cornwall political reporter Seb Noble has more.
It's February and you might be thinking about this. For Cornwall Council, it's budget-setting time, though. They need to save £50 million, which means services they don't legally have to provide are on the chopping block. Things like the Handyperson scheme, where elderly and disabled people can get things fitted or fixed in their house cheaply. And for those who rely on it, it's much loved.
Claire has cerebral palsy, which can make things like balance difficult. She had these handrails put in a few years ago at her home in Wadebridge. The work was done by Cornwall Council's Handyperson service, which is now facing closure.
One day, I think it was something that social services recommended that I spoke to the Handyperson service to see if I could help. And they've just been brilliant, utterly brilliant.
When Claire moved in, the top of her toilet system was broken.
It proved impossible to get a commercial replacement.
So the Handyperson made one for her.
This is made of wood?
Yeah, it's wood.
That's the difference of having had the handyman service for you?
Utterly.
Spoken to a number of people like Claire who've benefited from the Handyperson service. They told me how reliable and affordable it was. Others have commented on the fact that they would have loved to have used the service themselves, but they'd never heard of it.
The council charges a small fee to make home improvements. Opposition councillors now argue the service should be retained, but better promoted.
It's a vital service for residents and residents that are vulnerable, and it makes an important difference to their lives, especially as you can guarantee that the people coming in to do the work are tried and trusted people. I think it's a branding issue, realistically, that the service is making losses, we can't deny that, but the reality is many people don't know about it.
But Cornwall Council's adamant it can no longer afford it.
Quite a lot of people who've been using this service are actually not in dire housing need or just receiving the state pension. They're quite affluent people who've been receiving it as well, and I know they've got used to the service, but unfortunately there's all I'll say to them, there is better value out there. There are other ways of getting those much needed services delivered by the council, and Cornwall Council just simply hasn't got the luxury of being able to have a service that loses nearly £190,000 a year.
Claire says the fixings in her home have ensured she can continue living here independently. She's now hoping the council doesn't decide to turn off the spending tabs.
Well, Cornwall Council's cabinet met earlier today to agree to press ahead with its spending plans, although it will still need to be approved by the full council later this month. It says it's been particularly difficult to set a budget this year because it got less money from the government than it was expecting, although Labour insists it is overall increasing the council's funding. Other measures in the budget include a nearly 5% increase in council tax bills, a hike in garden waste collection fees, also a reduction in opening hours at household recycling centres and fewer free car parks. And of course, an end to the Handyperson scheme, leaving those who depended on it broken-hearted. Seb Noble, BBC Spotlight, Truro.